Much for coming here to listen to our presentation on operational excellence. Over the next 20 minutes, Vivek and I will take you through a short presentation, hopefully a bit provocative presentation, on what has been some of our findings on operational excellence in remote centers. Now, for many of you who have endured my various speeches at NASSCOM over the years, you would remember that no McKinsey presentation starts without the reference to the numbers, right? Many of you will remember that when we started our NASSCOM McKinsey reports back in 1998, we made the bold, provocative, absurd comment that this industry could actually aspire to be $50 billion when it was at that point in time less than 5. So the first point we'd like to make is, where are we with respect to that? And why is operational excellence, therefore, a topic for discussion today? As many of you will remember, when I stood before you last year at the same event, we talked about the fact that the industry had just clocked just under $24 billion. And it has grown by about 33% this year. Going forward, if we were going to achieve our aspiration, which we revised in 2005 to be $60 billion, we need to grow at about 24% incrementally, which is good news. However, if you actually remember the point we made last year, the other thing we also said was that the addressable market, i.e. the market for offshore services with today's technology and today's regulations in place, we could see growing was at least $300 billion. What is actually moved offshore today is less than 45. We're still a small percentage of what the addressable market is. And so therefore, for many of us who say, is this trend beginning to get over? Is it running out of steam? Our point of view is always, hey, it's actually not even getting started. There's 9 times the market that's out there. So why is operational excellence important? If you recall in the NASSCOM McKinsey report, what we had said was there were 3 critical areas that India as a country needed to fix to make sure we maintain our lead and capture the 60, if not greater, potential. The 3 areas were talent, where we said 500,000 person shortfall by 2010. Infrastructure, where we said 10 to 12 mini cities are required the size of Pune and Gurgaon in the next 4 years. And finally, operational excellence. Now, not many people at that time understood what operational excellence was and why was it a theme. This presentation is about that third theme. What we need to do to succeed in a world where our country advantage may not be as material as it has in the past. I'd just like to move and tell you very quickly that all the data that I'm going to share with you is based on the benchmarking effort that we have led along with NASSCOM and the industry. In this effort, we have benchmarked 24 out of the top 40 BPO companies, 10 out of the top 20 IT companies, and product development and software firms just getting started. This sample is drawn from 162 processes on BPO and about 68 processes in IT. We have talked in person to 300 plus customers. So what are our findings? I will take you through the first and the third finding, and Vivek will talk about the second and the fourth. Not surprising, or actually surprisingly, what we have found talking to 300 customers, we have realized that clients, our end clients, our onshore clients, are incredibly satisfied with the performance of their remote centers, captive or third party. If you actually look at the satisfaction in BPO or business processes in general, average client satisfaction as reported by them is about 3.2 on a scale of 1 to 4, 4 being the highest. In IT services, we have seen the average client satisfaction across application maintenance, application development, and custom package software to be 85% in terms of clients who are either satisfied or highly satisfied. We have actually, for the first time, got encouraging evidence of dramatic productivity improvements in certain areas. And finally, and most importantly, to many of you who ask me the question, so how long is all of this going to last? And when are we going to see the financial case for offshoring actually decline? My response is, the financial case of offshoring is not only not declining, it's actually strengthening. Let me show you a chart on that. If you look at the wages or the total labor salary component including benefits, that is difference between a US programmer, for example, and an Indian programmer. The absolute difference between that wage differential in the US, even if the US grew only by, in terms of inflation, by 2%, and India continued to grow at an extremely high rate of 18%, the absolute differential barely changes. Why is that? It's very simple. You're working off a much higher base in the US, right? And you can show this even in BPO, where actually the absolute difference in wages between US and India in the last 4 years has actually increased. In other words, despite growing at 14 to 18% wage rate increase in India, the business case for offshoring, even from a labor perspective, is at best stable or modestly declining. And then on top of it, if you add the improvements in telecom costs, productivity, etc., we have clear emerging evidence that the business case for offshoring, the financial case for offshoring, is, if anything, strengthening.